Hey there, kiddos. All right, this is the lesson 7 problem set video, but if you are just seeing this and hearing this now, I recommend that you go watch the lesson 7 template video that is the complement to this. Make sure you do that first because it has a lot of information about what these tables are for. So you should definitely watch that one first and then get to this one. Now for lesson 7, again, our objective here is to plot points. So learn about the X and Y axes and how to plot the points. And then use them to draw lines on the plane. And then describe patterns within the coordinate pairs. So we're looking for patterns between X and Y. What we're also going to do is come up with a rule, like a mathematical rule, to explain the relationship between X and Y. And also, sometimes in this lesson, I like to really emphasize that this is a relationship. It's a relationship, people. I know 5th graders are like, ew, relationships. But that's why you need to remember it's a relationship, okay, between the X and the Y coordinates. It's very important. We should do this lesson on Valentine's Day, and then we can talk all about relationships. Anyway, it's a relationship. So here we go. Complete the chart, then plot the points on the coordinate plane below. Don't do this until you've done this. If X is 0 and Y is 1, then you make your ordered pair 0, 1. If X is 2, Y is 3. If X is 4, Y is 5. If X is 6, Y is 7. What do you notice about the relationship between each X, Y combination / ordered pair? Well, you might notice that Y is always 1 more than X. So you could say Y is 1 more than X. Or you could say X plus 1 equals Y. So you can say these rules a lot of different ways. So grab that straight edge. We're going to plot some points and connect them with the line. 0 for X means don't go anywhere here, but do go up to 1. There are no letters for these points, so just plot the points. 2, 3. 2, 3. Notice that they're counting by ones, but not every number is marked on this graph. 4, 5. 4, 5. 6, 7. 6 and 7. Take your straight edge, any type of straight edge, and create a line that goes all the way through. Put arrows at both ends. Okay, did it, did it. Now, we're going to write a rule showing the relationship between the X and Y coordinates of the points on the line. So the relationship between these, you can say X plus 1 equals Y. I always am thinking in terms of this. You can also say Y is 1 more than X. Okay, and notice that since we're using X's and Y's so much, if ever you have to use multiplication, I suggest using the dot form of multiplication, not an X symbol, because then it'll be potentially X, X, something equals Y, and that would be too confusing. So start using a dot whenever you have X in your problem. Okay, now name 2 other points that are on this line. It doesn't even have to be on this graph, okay? It could be. So let's say we have 10. Okay, if X was 10, Y would be 11. Okay, so that is a point on this line. But it could be off the chart. It could be much higher, and I could give you 62 for X. Well, if X is 62, then Y is 63, because Y is 1 more than X. Whatever your X is, Y is 1 more. So that's what lesson 7 is all about. It's about identifying what the relationship is and then finishing it, like make a line and complete a graph with more points on the line. Let's do another one. That was so fun. Complete the chart, plot the points. 1/2, 1. Let's make an ordered pair. 1, 2. 1.5, 3. What are you noticing? 2, 4. Okay, now you should have noticed that the relationship between these two numbers, first of all, y is always a little bit bigger, but how much bigger? And it seems to keep getting bigger and bigger in between. So let's plot the points and then think about the rule. 1/2 and 1. Notice again, what are they counting by? We're counting by halves on every single line. So this is the half and the whole is here. 1/2, 1. 1 and 2. 1, 2. 1.5, 3. 2 and 4. Connect your points. Be precise. Do not try to freehand this stuff. It just turns out so badly. Okay, get a straight edge. Now we're going to write a rule showing the relationship between the x and y coordinates. Gosh, what a steep line this is. Very steep. We will talk about the steepness of the line later. But write a rule showing the relationship between x and y. Well, every time you have an x, and on the previous video for the template, I said, find 1, find 2, find 0 sometimes, although 0 is less helpful. What is the relationship on the easy whole numbers between x and y? Well, it's doubled. You can confirm with 1.5 to 3 and say, gosh, every time I have double of x, I get y. So the rule could be x times 2 equals y. Okay, you can also say multiply x by 2 to get y. That's another way of writing out the same thing. Okay, now name 2 other points that are on this line. We can come up with any. You invent the x. So think of something that you like and you can come up with anything. So let's just do 5 for the first one. Well, whatever x is, if this is 5, 5 times 2 will give you 10 for y. Okay, and then we could do something not even on this chart at all. We could do 10 times 2 is 20. And so you can have any number. You can have any x that you want, but whatever you get, your y should be times 2. So be accurate with your multiplication. Same thing here. You can come up with any numbers. Okay? All right. Keep going. Now we have this gigantic graph. And so this is a big coordinate plane. Use the coordinate plane below to answer the following questions. And we have a bunch on this page at the bottom. 2 on the bottom. And a bunch on this other page. So I will slide it back and forth so you guys can see what I'm doing. First of all, use the coordinate plane for this one. Give the coordinates for 3 points that are on line A. So find line A. We have so many lines. Where is line A? Go to the outside. Look for the cursive letters. This is line C. This is E. This is A. Okay. Here's D. Here's B. But we want A. So 3 points that are on line A, well, you have to kind of look and see. I suggest coming down to where something is labeled. Okay. 10, 10. Look at that. That's very curious. 10, 10. You can do any points you want that are on line A. But notice that if they are equal, my assumption then is, are they all equal? And I just proved it by finding 20, 20. And let's not do a multiple of 10. Let's do an odd number. What are they counting by on this graph? Count, 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 10. So must be counting by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so whatever you do, we could do like 12 or 14 and go to this one and again 10, 12, 14. And whatever you have for x, y is the same. Okay, so that's what That's what A is. Whatever you have for x, y should be equal to it. Now write a rule that describes the relationship between the x and y coordinates for the points on line A. The rule is x equals y, or y is the same as x. That works too. Okay? And let's go to the top of the next. What do you notice about the y-coordinates of every point on line B? So let's take a look at line B. Oh, look, here's line B. What about the y-coordinates? And what the heck is happening with this line here that's not on a line? Well, remember how we're counting by even numbers on the labeled parts of your coordinate plane? Well, numbers don't just disappear when they're not labeled. They are still there. They're just in between. So 1 is here between 0 and 2. 3 is here between 2 and 4. So sometimes you're going to have to kind of, like, what is this point right here? I could say identify this point right here. What is it? Well, it's going to be a little bit more than 6, but less than 7. Okay, and it's going to be a little bit more than 13, maybe 13.1. Okay, so that's when you start getting into fractional amounts. Remember, number lines go on forever in both directions, and you can come up with any number in between whole numbers as well as whole numbers. So it can be halves and quarters and tenths. It's every number to infinity. So what do you notice about the y-coordinates of every point on line B? All those y-coordinates are this value here, 16, 18, so that is 17. They are all 17, okay? That's your answer. They're all 17. Now fill in the missing coordinates for points on line D, okay? Now let's look at line D. This is line D here. Okay, so when they give us 12, that's here, and I need to find out what this point is over here. Now, it really helps if you have something labeled, and since I haven't done that yet, let's label it. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so on line D, if the x value is 12, I'm going to tip it a little bit so I can slide it back and forth easier. If the x is 12, the y is 6. So I'm going to go put that up here. If x is 6, okay, then what's y? Where does it cross? Oops, sorry, wrong line. If x is 6, ooh, I have to extend my line. Look at that. Let's take our straight edge and go down line D and see what would happen if we extend it. Because right here, all I had was the y value at 2, but it didn't cross. So if x is 6 for line D, y is 0 because it's right here on the axis. So there is your answer for that y value. Now, when they give you the y, and you have to look at the relationship between the x and y, this seems like if you have x minus 6, then you would get y, right? So if let's put this into a tentative formula, x minus 6 equals y. Let's try it out. Will it work? If y is 24, okay, so I have x minus 6 equals 24, okay, because I know y this time, not x. They gave me the second one, not the first. Then I have to take something, I have to take 6 away from something and get 24. So if you want to find out what was first, you have to add 24 and 6 to get back to the x. Okay, so that would be 30. Let's go out here and see if I was to continue line D as high as I can go without going off the page, okay? Because I want to see, will it get up here to 30? And you know what? It sure looks like it will. Way here in the corner of my book till it goes curvy. Okay, so 30, if x is 30, well, that's right up here. Sorry, let me show you this one. If x is 30, then y is 24. And here's 22, and here's 24. So this point here, not the opposite way that I was just talking about a second ago. Okay, so remember, x is the bigger one, 30, y is the 24. Next one, if x is 28, so we're going to go back just a skosh. One line is a count of 2. Then what is y? All the way up to line D, all the way back over, and it's 22. Let's prove it with our math. 28 minus 6 equals 22, okay? So again, this one's just for this one here. And you can prove it here. If I have x, which is 28, and I take away 6, I will get y, which is 22, which is correct. Therefore, I know that I've done a good job with my formula. Okay? And finally, if I have the y value of 28, okay, the y value of 28, I can do the math. And again, if I have the y value already, then x minus 6 equals y. Then I have to add 6 to the 28 to get the y value. And we're going to end up with 34. And I'm going to put the 34 here. And then we're going to go over to here and have 34, which is off the chart, and then 28, which would be up here. So that kind of fits this dot out here in the corner. Okay, so at that point, when you get off the graph, you just are relying on your math, okay, to complete the formula. So use the math for the formula, and you will have all the answers to infinity and beyond. Okay, for any point on line C, the x coordinate is what? Let's find line C. Okay, line C is here. And again, it's in between these two lines. So what point is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. So this is 5 for the x coordinate. And there's nothing else we have to do there. Each of the points lies on at least one of the lines shown in the plane on the previous page. Identify a line that contains each of the following points. The first one's done for you. For example, 7, 7 is line A. So if you look at 7, this is an odd number. And so 7 up here to 7 here. Now that would take you right out here to this point on this line, line A. That's why they have that there. So they did that one for you. But now you have to find the rest. And again, look at what they did. They've got decimal values, 3/10, which means a little bit more than that number. So this is really good practice. 14 and 8 for the second one. 14 for x, 8 for y. Right here, and go out and see that that is line D. D. How about 5, 10 for the next one? X, 5, and then that's kind of a clue, 5, and then 10, because we were just talking about that line. That's going to be C. But can it be anything else where 5 and 10 intersect? Yes. It could be line C, but tangent, it could be line E. C or E, or you could put and. C and E. And then how about 0 and 17? So 0 for x means don't go that way, but do go up to 17 for y. And when you're on 17, that goes with this line here, B. And now we have our good fractional values, like what? 15.3 for x, okay? Not only do we have an odd number in between, but we have a little bit more than that, okay? So it's gonna be on the a little bit more than the 15. Sorry, it's blurry. I just looked up and saw that, okay? If the middle is 15, it's just slightly past that for 15.3. That's for x. Now, hold on. That's not the point. We still have to mark our y value, which is 9.3. So go up. Go up, up, up until you're between 8 and 10. Okay? And you can see the line right here. And this is the point. Now, again, because it's a little past the halfway point on both but like within this square. So it's past the halfway point and it's past the halfway point. Okay, so obviously it's going to be this line, which is line D. Okay, so you can get any fractional value. Any fractional number on any point, like floating out here in the middle. It does not have to be just the crisscross point. Okay, last one. Click subscribe, come back again. X is 20, Y is 40, X is 20, and then we go up, 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 and 40 is not even on the line. So what do? We go up and see, where are we going? If I was going to continue along my 20, what line would cross if this is 30 and every 10 comes about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right about here, okay? What line would hit it? And then let's close out this line just so you can see. And they are going to intersect. Going to intersect. Okay, right up there, psh, off the page. So what line is that? It's line E. Okay, and those are the answers, and I hope you understand this lesson because it sure is a really important one. Come back again. We'll see you on the next video.